Good morning. We are really nearing the end of John's Gospel. It's hard to believe we've been here since September. And next week is our last week of readings. Today, we're taking a break from John to put you into one of the Psalms. We've been doing this throughout this plan, really for two reasons. One, the Psalms that we're choosing are Psalms that either directly tie in because they're quoted in the passage we're reading, or they're Psalms that share the same theme and really help us think about or illuminate the passage in a different way. Today's Psalm is one of those. We're reading Psalm 63 because David wrote this when he was in the wilderness, and it's the same kind of experience that the disciples themselves are facing really as they're waiting for Jesus. But here's the second reason, and I think this is one of the more important reasons. Praying the Psalms is a spiritual practice that has been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Even before the time of Jesus, you could argue. The Psalms are a tool for God's people to express their emotions, to relate to other people who have gone through hard seasons or rough patches or felt like they were in the wilderness like David is experiencing here. And when we pray the Psalms, when we read them and meditate on what they mean and speak those words back to God, what we're doing is it's almost like we're participating in the prayers of all of those who have come before us. And this is a spiritual practice that I think is really integral to our faith and can bear a lot of fruit in our lives or get us to think about things in a new way or see things through new sets of eyes, or even just encourage us by the range of emotion that these psalmists, these authors write about in the book of Psalms. So as you read today, think about those two things. What does it mean to pray the Psalms? We've given you some instructions on how to do that in the email for this week. If you don't get the email, you can view it without even signing up at hbmc.org/Bible. And then just consider these words as you read. What sticks out to you? Again, David wrote this when he was experiencing a wilderness journey, most likely before he had been officially labeled the king, as he's on the run from Solomon. And these are the words that he writes. There's two sections I want to read that really stick out to me today, just where I'm at. Verse 1, "You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you, in a dry and parched land where there is no water." Have you ever experienced that? Where you felt like you were in this place and you're thirsty for something and nothing seems to quench your thirst. I think what David is writing is this idea, and he recognizes a profound truth that what he really is longing for is God. But he also feels like he's not sure if God's actually there or not. I think about this verse too, in 6-8. "On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night." He's up all night, worrying, anxious about this. Can you relate to that? "Because you are my help. I sing in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me." Again, there's just something really beautiful about this idea that in our darkest moments, when we feel like we're in the desert and there's nothing that can satisfy these deep longings that we have, where can we turn? I think we follow David's example and we go back to the heart of who we are, knowing that our soul is thirsty for God. We can cling to God because he is good and trustworthy. And as the disciples, they're going to learn that firsthand in this week's reading and even in next week's reading as they encounter Jesus in a way that is fresh to them through the eyes of the resurrection. So I hope that you will take this practice seriously this week. Read the psalm, but don't just read it as words on a page. Pray it back to God. Look and change the words as you read it 2, even 3 times to relate it back to your own life and use it as a starting point for a conversation that you can have with God this week. Only one more week left. We'll see you back here tomorrow.